Hey everybody, if you're one of those people that I haven't responded to in the last 6 weeks, well, I've been quite busy, and so to help you understand, I made a little short video to explain what's up. Here you go. Welcome back to the channel. This is just another brief musical update. We have a new event coming up. It's a wedding for the man you met in the last video, Tim Brown. He's given me an assignment that's going to involve quite a bit of work, so I've been getting ready for that, and that's why I've been out of communication for a little bit. But I had to put nose to the grindstone, and I'll show you what I've got prepared. But I did want to give a shout out to Ron. Ron I knew as a blues player, but didn't know he was in the business. And boy, like they say, he can really wail. Ron, I can't play the blues like that, but I can still make you feel bad, if that helps. And I want to give a shout out to Wayne. Wayne is a world-class guitar player and singer. He and his bride-to-be, you'll be interested to know, were featured on a popular television program back in the day. And I'm going to include a link below for that, if he'll allow me to. And I'll include a link for Ron too, if he doesn't mind me doing that. It'll be there in the description box. So Wayne and his wife were teenage heartthrobs on that television show. And even today, they've been married for 52 years and they're still heart-throbbing. So how come there are so many guitarists that are in the repair business? I can't speak for everybody, but I think it's so that we don't have to sleep in our car. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of what my assignment has been and why I've been so busy here the last 6 weeks. I had a request to perform some classical music for the wedding. The first half hour is going to be classical music. We had a request for that and had a request specifically for Air on the G String by Bach. Now, I don't mind learning a new tune for events like this. So Air on the G String is a very popular piece. The beginning of it is kind of easy. Maybe I could just play a couple bars of that so you'll recognize it. Let's see. Anyway, that's it. You recognize that tune. So the first part of that, the A part, is quite simple, really. But the B part of that song, my goodness, I think Bach must have been into the wild mushrooms when he wrote this piece. So what I found out about as I'm working through here is that the bass line is sort of a story in and of itself. The melody is its own story, so we have two stories working together here. And the more I get into it, the more I realize the genius of this guy. And so the tough part for me, though, is that I don't read the bass clef very fast, so I mark down all the notes for the bass part in the bass clef. But I'm playing it not in the key of D, in the key of C. So I'm taking that and then I'm transposing that down into the key of C. So when I have to work on a difficult part like that, timing wise and harmony wise, I generally take 2 measures, work up those 2 measures at one sitting. and then practice those 2 measures, and then the next sitting, the next day, learn 2 more measures, practice those 4 measures, then read 2 more measures, get that worked out, and just keep working along like that. And so now I've got all the way down to the end, the last 2 measures. So all the rest of it's practiced except for the last 2 measures. So now when I have to go play this, I'm going to be worried, am I going to be able to stick this ending? But I really do appreciate having learned this. I learned a lot more about Bach and how he's thinking about his music, and it's really quite interesting. So that's one I had to learn. The next one that they wanted was Canon and D, which I already know that. I can play that almost in my sleep. The problem I have with Canon and D is thinking about something else while I'm playing that and then forgetting where I'm at. So I have to purposely concentrate on Canon and D. That's by Pachelbel, if you remember. Not Taco Bell. That Taco Bell's his brother, by the way. Then there's another new piece, The Letter by Yuki Nishimura. That's it here. And this is a Japanese piano player. Her music is really, really beautiful. And if you haven't heard of her before, hopefully I can remember to put a link also for her music, and maybe for this song in particular, because her piano work is so pretty. And I got this tune from my friend Cherry from Hong Kong. Apparently Yuki's material is popular also there. And the nice part about this is very melancholy. They like the minor keys a lot in the Far East, and so it's like quarter notes here for the first part, and then as it progresses, it's 8th notes, and then it's 16th notes, and then it kind of repeats that. So that's the 16th notes are going to be more of a problem when it comes to timing, especially on the G part of that song when the 16th notes are an octave higher. Very beautiful piece. Actually, I could just play a little bit of that intro. It's in G minor. So it's like this. Like that. So like the other song, when I get to the 16th notes, that's going to be the interesting part, to make sure I can land that. And whenever you have a specific hurdle in a song like this, that's the only part really you need to practice repetitively. The rest of it kind of fits together nicely. So, and then romance song, which is by the Spanish Tárrega, very popular tune that's kind of easy, but it gives me a chance to do some of the classical tremolo. Don't play it or else you'll be asked to do a lot of classical music. And then you gotta really work. Speaking of classical music, you can't become a classical guitarist overnight. Some of these reaches are 5 frets and you have to really stretch your hand. You're not gonna train your hand to stretch that far overnight. I guess unless you took scissors and clipped the webbing out between your fingers. But it takes a good deal of practice, stretching exercises for some time before you can get those notes cleanly like that. So a lot of work. So anyway, the first part of the program is going to be pretty much the classical music. And then the same room is going to be converted to where the ceremony is going to happen. So I am out of the picture for the ceremony. The ceremony is going to go on. And then the room is going to change over again for dinner. So Starting with the dinner, then they've requested a bunch of Brazilian music. So I already played quite a bit of Antonio Carlos Jobim's music. By the way, Joe Beam, don't confuse that with Jim Beam, okay? It goes good with Jim Beam, but this Joe Beam. So his music, I do a couple of his already, like Girl from Ipanema, you know that one. And what else did I have on here for him? Desafinado. I used to play that one, so I brought that one back in. Corcovado, which you know, Quiet Nights of Quiet Stars is also another name for that. So I brought those tunes back. I've relearned them from a long time ago and kind of updated them, made new intros for them, new improvisation with those tunes, so they've become new to me again, so I'm glad to throw them back in there. And what I'm doing here is I'm making a folder of all of these tunes. So I'm putting hard copies of the songs in this folder. So this folder will be geared up just for when I get requests for classical music. I won't have to go looking for the hard copies for all of the songs. I'll have them grouped together already, and I'll have notations made. For example, I've got the song Laura, which is a jazz standard, but I have an intro. I have the C scale I'm running down for the intro, so I've got that itemized here. I've also got chord substitutions. So those substitute chords I keep a record of here. That way I won't forget when it comes time to review that song what those substitutions were. That's why it's important for me, at least, to have a hard copy. Another song, that's a Brazilian song by Marcos Val, you might know as Summer Samba. I have the sheet music for that, but I also have the chords on a separate sheet just to remind myself of the chords. I've also made a backing track for this one, so we've got some rhythm background. And this is a tune that you probably would recognize. The opening riff is like this. So that's what they call elevator music. I think the reason they call it elevator music is because it's so uplifting. Dad joke there. So, the other thing, Song from a Secret Garden, that's going to go in. I'm going to put that in with the classical pieces. It's not classical, but it fits the description. And that's going to be the last song that I'll have in my list before I cut out the first half of the program. I've also updated the chords for that and put a record so I don't have to trust my memory for that. If you're not familiar with this tune, it's really such a pretty tune, and it's not a difficult one to play on the guitar, really. I've put it into the key of D minor to make it guitar friendly. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll put these chords here. So in D minor, it's G minor, C. So it follows the circle of fifths. By the way, the way I finger this song, this is going to be a 4-finger song all the way through. C, F major 7, and then the B major 7 has an open E string, so you can hit this melody. G minor, A major. And so that's why I did that. And also in D minor, you have more open bass strings. Okay, we had a surprise camera shut off there. I don't know where I was when that happened. But what I'm going to do for the evening then is play the first part of the program using the Yamaha guitar, the classical guitar, which is by Guitar Player Standards, one of the cheaper ones. It was $500, but it's a good fingering guitar, good quality guitar, I think, for the price. I bought it as a backup unit. And then when I have the backing tracks later on in the evening, I will be playing, of course, the Paul McGill, which is a very powerful guitar to cut through the mix. If I have a chance, I'll take some video there, maybe some pictures. I don't think I'll be able to get any video of me playing, but we'll take a look at the facilities and include those here at the end, hopefully. So, see you then. So the function is being held at a private club across from the state capitol building. I would venture a guess it would be somewhere near $20,000 to join and probably $5,000 an annual due at this club. This is where the lawmakers and the lawyers and the lobbyists come together. And they've only recently been able to reopen. Upstairs is the banquet hall. In fact, the governor was just here a couple days ago having a conference. It looks like we're expecting a little less than 100 people. And here are some treats that I'll never get to partake of because I'll be busy. Typically, once people start filtering in, it gets very noisy with conversation, and therefore the guitar music will be just background music, just wallpaper again. So while I have a number of new tunes, nobody will be listening too critically. And I am about ready to do my first half hour, which is the meet and greet and the meat and grapes. After that, I sat out for the next hour while they had this ceremony and some picture taking going on. And I really appreciate Tim asking me to provide music where it fits the best, and that is for dining. And how can I leave you without a repair idea? You may have one of these Hercules guitar stands, and they're an excellent guitar stand. I like them because they keep your guitar from falling face first on the floor. But as you know, this adjustment mechanism fails. But instead of throwing out the stand, there's a really easy fix that I've found. So the first thing to do is to pull off that adjustment mechanism and throw it away. Then you can purchase this speed nut and a machine screw. The speed nut is just a single thread, but it's under spring tension, so it will hold the bolt firmly. So put the nut on the tube and mark where you're going to have to drill a hole for the bolt. Then you can drill a hole in the tube. Put the speed nut back on and line it up with the hole you just drilled. Then you can just use a screwdriver to insert the screw into the hole at the right adjustment. I don't know if anyone readjusts the stand after the very first time anyway, but if you needed to, a screwdriver would do the trick. And that's going to be it for this music update. See you next time.